Does your stomach turn into knots when you think about making those sales calls, picking up the phone and calling someone, whether it's the dreaded cold call or maybe even a warm call? Or maybe you're somebody that would rather do anything than make a sales call? Well, I'm here to tell you that in any business, whether it's home staging, whatever you're doing, you do have to make those sales calls because that's how you get a client. And in order to be profitable, we want to have a lot of clients. So in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be sharing some sales secrets with our very esteemed panel today, two very seasoned and well-known home stagers, one in Canada, one in the United States. And we're going to talk about how, sales secrets, not necessarily making sales calls, because there's actually easier ways to do it than actually picking up that telephone and talking with someone, if that's the first interaction that you're going to have with it. So my name is Dana Smithers. I am the author of Start and Run a Home Staging Business. I started in the home staging industry probably about 12 years ago. And I say probably because I started part-time before I went full-time in that business. So I had a home staging business. I also was an interior decorator, so I had a client base of stagers and women, people that wanted color consultations, flooring picked out, new furniture, those sorts of things. So I had a fairly even mix of clients. Now I am a certified law of attraction trainer and business coach, and I spend the majority of my time now, because I sold my home staging business and training school last year, I coach women in business. A lot of my clients are in the home staging industry, and it's just such a good fit for me because I basically know what they have to go through to make their business successful. But I'm not the only one that's going to tell you how to make your business successful. You can take a read of my book. There's lots of great tips in that. But today, I would like to introduce you to, I'm going to start with Sally Weatherley first. And something I can tell you about Sally before she introduces herself, even though she took my training, I think we came up with 2009, that Sally was never fond of doing cold calls. So, Sally, please introduce yourself.
Hi,
and welcome.
Thank you. My name is Sally Weatherley. My company is Exit Stage Right. We're a home staging company here in Vancouver. And Dana, I couldn't believe it when you emailed me to participate in this, because I'm like, doesn't she know that I hate sales? But as a big, huge fraidy cat of sales, I've learned how to go around and maybe do it a little less traditionally than others. So I'm happy to share a few of my tips.
Good, excellent. And Sally, staging is 100% of your business. Do you do vacants and occupied? What do you do?
Yes, I do about 50% vacant, 50% occupied, with consultations in there as well. But I will I will refer out design jobs. I just really prefer to have my niche as home staging.
Right. And do you have your own furniture, Sally? Do you have a warehouse, or?
I do. I've got a warehouse. I carry everything from, the small items to sofas, and so it's about 2,000 square feet of warehouse right now. Warehouse in Vancouver is very expensive, so you have to just be very wise with what you carry. But yes, I do.
Right, great. Thanks so much, Sally. And we're going to get into your sales secrets shortly as well. So next, I'd like to introduce Carol Kaplan. So Carol, tell the viewers where you are and how long you've been doing this.
Hi everyone. I live in San Diego, and I started my business, Everything Creative, about 9.5 years ago. And met Dana, I think we decided it was around about 2006, and at a RISA conference. And she helped me really get my business up and running when it was at a stage where it was plateauing. So it's been really a great and interesting journey.
Right. And Carol, you do a lot of vacants, and tell the viewers how many homes you have, how much furniture inventory you have out there right now.
We have 50 homes fully staged at the moment.
That's 50, not 15. Yeah.
So we do have a lot of inventory, although, Sally, we have a 2,600 square foot warehouse, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle every day, trying to fit the stuff in and, you know, taking it out, and I'm sure you can totally relate to that.
Yes. Goat paths.
Yeah, that's great. Good. So something I wanted to just mention, actually, we were having two other well-known stagers on the show, Michelle Finnamore, and Michelle had just a scheduling conflict, and Julea Joseph was on the show this morning with us when we were prepping, but she had a client, so we all know that clients do take preference, paying clients. So I hope to have Julea Joseph and Michelle Finnamore on a show another time, so stay tuned for that. So I'll just share some of the secrets that Julea had as well. But what I'd like to do right now is just talk about, with Sally first, where you know, because it's true, Sally. I mean, I know I joke a little bit with you because you just have that kind of personality. But, you know, when I was a sales manager in corporate, I had 11 branches under me. And we had to make cold calls, not only by phone, but we actually literally had to knock on doors. So for whatever reason, I seem to like that. So I really enjoy being a sales manager. But when I got into this business, I wasn't knocking on doors. I wasn't going down to, you know, literally homeowners and doing a section, although I know that some people have done that, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. But I just want everyone to know that there are a lot of different ways to actually market yourself, because even though we're talking about sales secrets, we're going to talk a lot about marketing, because it's people buy from us when they know, like, and trust us. So it's important that we get ourselves out there and make those connections. So what I'd like to interject here with a little law of attraction principle here, that what we're really looking for is this: getting clarity on who our ideal client is, because without knowing that, we're going to waste a lot of time, money, and energy going around thinking, is it this person? And I know that a lot of people, when they start out, they say, well, you know, it's anybody with a pulse and a checkbook. Well, we know how that turns out, right? I don't have to go into that scenario, because everything that can go sideways goes sideways with that. So, you know, law of attraction is all about, you know, working with clients that you're attracted to, that feel good to you, that you'd like to have a relationship with, whether it's the realtor or the homeowner. So with the law of attraction, this is one of the principles and things that I know Sally and Carol have done, even if they didn't do it formally. What we always have to look at is who we don't want. And then from there, we can actually find out who we do want. So Sally, let's go ahead and talk, if you'll share, like, how you have found your clients, maybe some of the things you tried in the beginning that maybe didn't work for you as well, but now you've got a really good thing going on, and I know that because I see your business expanding all the time. So go ahead and tell us how you've done that.
Sure, thanks, Dana. Well, when I first started out, I think a lot of homestagers are in this boat. When you start out, you're a decorator, you're a designer, you've got that down, right? As far as running a business, being a salesperson, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. Like, that's a whole different hat. So I knew right away that I did not know how to sell. So and you know me, Dana, I love to take courses.
Yes.
So I did sign up for sales and marketing course and took several, and that really set me on the path right away. So I highly recommend that. You know, I would learn things like asking open-ended questions as opposed to a question where they're just going to say no,
Yeah.
Which is obvious now, but when you're first starting out, you don't know, right? So after I took that and I felt more comfortable, okay, you want to know one thing that did not work? We'll start off with the negative and then go into the positive. What did not work was, I know a lot of home stagers Tamara with Tweak Home Staging, shout out, she's done this, where she'll go to an open house, an agent's open house, and she chats with the agent, and next thing, she's been very successful with that, got a lot of business. I, on the other hand, I'm very shy. I am very shy. So I had to actually down a mimosa before I went into an agent's open house. It was the worst experience of my entire life, and they were really nice, but I just hated the whole experience. I felt like I was bugging them, so that didn't work for me. What did work for me was I joined some networking groups where you're there in with small businesses, and at first I would sit down quietly in the corner and not say anything, and then gradually I'd talk to people and get to know people. I'd feel comfortable. Next thing, you know, I actually joined a large networking group in Vancouver, and I'm actually one of the community partners, and I'm running the darn thing. And I'm able to stand up in front of the room and do 4-minute presentations, and I've met realtors, I've met homeowners, I've met people who know people who know people. So for me, the really belly-to-belly networking has been what works for me. So it may not work for someone else, that's just what worked for me.
Right, and so with that, Sally, I know because I did go to a networking event, because I do a lot of networking as well, where you were at, and so you got an opportunity to really get to know people.
Yes.
And how about the follow-up then? So you meet them at a networking event, and then what do you do?
You know, it's not instantaneous. People go to like 1 or 2 meetings, they go, oh, that didn't work, and they're out. It is a long-term investment. You gradually have to get to know people. They have to start feeling comfortable with you, and then the referrals start to flow. But it does take a while. Yeah,
absolutely. Great. Thanks so much, Sally. And those viewers, I'm not recommending that you have a mimosa before you go out and do your call, but that's just Sally for you, right? Carol, I know you have grown a really successful business, and I know when I first met you, one of the first questions I asked was, where are you from? So let's talk about that and how that gets people interested in chatting with you.
Well, I was born in South Africa, and in 1988 we decided to immigrate to Toronto, and we spent 10 years in Toronto, very unhappy person. I didn't like the weather. It was a big culture shock for me, having to move my whole family. My mother had just died, and it was an extremely difficult time. And we decided 17 years ago to move to San Diego, and this has just been the most amazing thing for the whole family because everybody's grown. The weather's great. We're happy here. And I decided I just needed to take a leap of faith and start this business, not even knowing what home staging was at that stage. And I just thought this would be fun. I've got, an interior design background, and I can do this. And so I did it, and along the way, had some big mistakes, but have learned from those mistakes. And obviously networking is one of the biggest things. And everybody knows me, obviously, because of my accent, and that does help. But I have, the same as Sally said, you have to keep going. I've been going to the same realtor meeting for 9.5 years, and I'm really starting to see the fruits now. So it's definitely, you have to keep going.
Right. And Carol, could you tell us about how you work for referrals then? How do you, that must be a big part of your business as well, because I know you have a lot of repeat business.
I would say that 95% of my business is referral based. So, with keeping in touch with realtors all the time, if they do refer me to their homeowners. Sometimes they're not even at the appointment. They just send me to the home, and I meet with the homeowners who then become my clients. Then they move to another place, and then they ask me to come in and do a redesign for them. So it's pretty much been a referral based thing. I haven't done a lot of marketing, I must confess. So I've been pretty lucky with that. But it doesn't always happen. You have to, continuously get out there, be seen, and just, you do have to network as much as, I sometimes get up there and think, oh, what am I going to say today? I think they've heard everything that, they want to hear. So it's just going and being seen, even if you don't even get up and say anything. It's just being seen there.
Right. So I really, thanks very much for that, Carol. What I liked about the difference between what Sally said, her networking group, and Carol's, Carol is with a group of realtors, and Sally, did you used to go to BNI's as well? I know you're with RTN now.
I've gone to many as a guest. I've never actually.
Yes. Yeah. And how about if you met somebody, Sally, at one of your networking meetings, how do you actually turn them into a client then? Kind of walk people through that. So you've met them there. Talk about your follow-up and, doing this belly-to-belly stuff.
Really, it's just, you do this, to say the old phrase, you do business with people that you like and trust, get and know. And that's what networking is about, is getting to really know a person. So there's a realtor in our group in North Vancouver, and not only have I done work for her, but she feels so comfortable that she's referring me to other realtors. So it really mushrooms out. So it's just, it's getting to know people, getting them to like you, you like them. There's a synergy there. Yeah. They are your ideal client. It's a good fit, and it just,
Yeah, perfect. And that's really what the law of attraction is, right? You want to attract people that you want to do business with, and also that they want to do business with you. So something that Julea was going to talk about, but since she's not here, I will, as it's a sales strategy that I used, and I consistently got business from this. And this is doing presentations at libraries. When I first started out, I attracted someone that worked in one of our largest libraries in the Vancouver area, the Vancouver Public Library. And I wasn't staging at the time. I was actually had more decorating clients in redesign, where we go in and do home makeovers for living. So I proposed something to the coordinator, and I got accepted to do it. And my very first talk, I had over 100 people at the Vancouver Public Library. Now, unlike Sally, I don't know if Sally's shy. I don't know about that. I've kind of seen her a lot, but I know that she says she is shy. Well, I'm not shy. Give me a microphone and, I'll take over the whole stage. I don't know. It's just something that I love to do. So I jumped at that opportunity, and what was so great about it is from that presentation, like, I gave everybody a handout, so I made the investment. I did over, actually the library printed my handouts. So I had over 100 flyers printed. They're all on the chairs, and they had all my contact information on them. But what I always say to people, when you're doing a talk, it's even whether it's a trade show or whatever it is, you've got to get the information. It's no good them just having the information, because you've got nothing to follow up with. So what I would do is I would always have a draw, and if I was doing a library talk, I would make it quite big. Like, I would do, in the beginning, I would do a one-day home makeover, right? Or maybe I do a one-day staging using everything that they have. As I progressed, and I didn't give away as much, I may have given away, even with a realtor talk, like a 1-hour consultation or something. But with the library talks, everyone's got your contact information, but you want to have a draw so that you can get everybody's information in there. You also want to circulate a newsletter sign-up, so you've got permission to put those people in your database and start building your list. And then from those people, from the people that have entered the draw, you draw it, big drum roll, there's a winner, everybody's excited, and then you've got all those people to follow up with. So that's where, Sally, I'm actually going to have you talk about your postcard campaign that you did, because I've done those as well, follow up from trade shows. But from the library, from doing that one call, all the other libraries in the area, so in Greater Vancouver, they know what was a good draw for their patrons. So I got invited to about 6 other libraries to do talks. And while some of them were smaller, there were still 60 people that showed up. And for me, because I was doing decorating, and the home staging, and also teaching home staging, I would get all three types of clients. So for me, I didn't really have to sell anything. People do what we call self-selected. So they were excited to sign up for my newsletter, start following me, and all sorts of things like that, which is what you want, right? It's what Sally has said, it's what Carol has said. People need to know, like, and trust you before they're going to buy from you. And like attracts like. So we want to have fun in this business. You know, all of us in this business are self-employed, so at this stage of life, why wouldn't we want to be working? Why wouldn't we want to choose who we work with? Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons why I love doing it. So Sally, tell us about that postcard campaign.
Right. Well, how this came about was, and I would highly recommend this, if you've got a really good relationship with a realtor, sit down for lunch and brainstorm with them. They want to help you too. So I went for lunch with this realtor, and he was super nice, and I'm like, look, I need to get more business. What are you guys looking for? What can I do? What would attract you? And he's like, you know what you should do? He said, I never hear from stagers. He said, you should have a postcard campaign where you put drop off a postcard. It goes into all our mailboxes. And he said, be consistent about it. Do it like once a month. And, I think that would really help. So I'm like, wow, I mean, talk about a gem, right? So, to be honest, I've actually only done this once. However, somebody else needs to do this and let me know how it goes. But the one time I did do it, I used Vistaprint. Okay. I only used my local area, North Vancouver. So there's about I had a girlfriend of mine, because I can't do phone calls. I had a girlfriend of mine call up the realtor's offices, hey, you got to do what you got to do, and ask how many realtors were in the office. Printed out a beautiful image of one of my stages as an example of this is the work that we do. It was a vacant that we'd staged. And then I had her drive around and drop like 30 postcards off at this office, 50 at that office. So as I said, I think 500 postcards went out. Well, I was really surprised at the reaction. I had a realtor email me and say, thank you so much for connecting. And she is thanking me for connecting with her. I'm like, what? And then I did get a couple of other phone calls, and I did do a consultation for one realtor. Now, that was only after one mail out. So if one were consistent with this and go through and do it every month, I think there's great potential there.
Yeah.
For business.
I think that's a great idea, and even if you didn't do it every month, then I would think, once a quarter.
Yeah, even that
would be good. And did you put any? I'm going to ask Carol a minute. Carol, I know that over the years you've probably done flyers or some kind of special offer on something. Have you done anything like with the realtors? You do office talks and that sort of thing.
I haven't really done a lot of that. You're talking about postcards. I've always had a postcard ever since I started my business. And every time we finished a staging, I would leave about a half a dozen postcards at the staging. And, it's a little bit bigger than a postcard size. And it's amazing how many people, because I always ask them, how did you get hold of us? Right. And they would say, oh, we found your postcard in one of your stagings that you did in La Jolla or PB or wherever. And I also, funnily enough, did something similar to that with Sally. I happened to be going to Starbucks one day in an area that I hadn't sort of, done much in, and I happened to see a realtor association. So I had all these cards in my car, and I dropped them off, and I said, would you like to just hand these out? And you have to be nice and friendly to the gatekeeper. And she said, sure. And the next day, I actually got a call from one of the agents, and I did a staging job for him, and I've had a couple from that same office. So that definitely does work if, as you say, Sally, we were consistent about it.
Yeah, well, ladies, let's be honest. What happens, and it's happened to me, and I know it's happened to viewers watching, that once we start to get business, we do tend to back off our marketing efforts, right? And so people are always saying, well, how do you keep your business consistent? Well, I would say to that, be consistent with your postcard campaign. If you got, some return on that investment. I know Vistaprint is very inexpensive, so 500 postcards won't cost you that much. But it's the consistency that's actually going to get that repeat business, or kind of help so that the business isn't so much of a roller coaster. But I do know, as a solopreneur, I'm a solopreneur as well. I mean, I have lots of people that I contract with. When I was more in the business, I had contractors to help me with a lot of different things. So, but let's not forget that we need to be doing it consistently, right? Because the more consistent it is, the more business we're going to get. But as solopreneurs, it's like, okay, well, I've got to do this. It's like what Sally said in the beginning. You're wearing so many different hats. That's why I think it's really important to, do this one, get really clear on who your ideal client is, and just focus on that. And then decide, is it networking? Is it presentations? Is it postcards? Is it referral business? Referrals that's going to get you business, because it's all about, as Sally said, getting in front of somebody, and Carol has said that as well. So, Sally, I was just going to ask you again, I really like the fact that you contracted someone to do those sales calls that you don't like to do. So that's so how did you go about finding somebody, Sally? Tell us that.
I've got a really good girlfriend who has been in the clothing industry. She works retail, sells clothes in high-end clothing stores, and she was laid off. And I mean, she could sell ice to an Eskimo, really. I mean, she's amazing. She's very, very smooth and all that. And I'm like, you know what? We need to talk. So that's how that. She's great. That's
wonderful. Yeah, because I think it's we don't have to do all things in our business. Certainly when you're starting out, we don't necessarily have the same cash flow. You might want to think about getting a credit line, because the only way you're going to grow your business is by investing in things. I took that leap of faith. I jumped out of corporate. I know Carol did. She mentioned that. Sally, what was I can't quite remember what you did before you got into staging.
I was a flight attendant.
That's right. Yes. And you flew. You just said, okay, I'm done. Right, I'm done that. Great. Okay. Well, Carol and Sally, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. It's been really fun, and what I do really appreciate is that both of you are very seasoned professionals. Sally, I know that you're in a lot of social media sites. Carol, you do a fair bit of social media as well. And actually, that sort of leads us to the show that I'll be doing next week. I've got some very seasoned and very active social media people. I'm going to have Judith Burzell from San Diego as well on the show, and Red, I hope I'm saying his name right, Bernuevo, I believe it is. I'll get it right before you have him on the show. But they use a lot of different social media sites to actually get traction and grow their business. So again, what we've talked about today in terms of sales strategies, we've mentioned networking, presentations, following up on referrals, the postcard campaign, flyers, dropping things off in realtors' offices, doing library talks. So you don't necessarily have to do, and I wouldn't really recommend doing any really cold calls where you don't really know the person. I know some people will just get out a list of realtors and start calling, but personally I haven't found that to be successful, so I'm really advocating the warm call. That's what I'm doing. So Sally, we would like to say goodbye to you, so tell people how they can reach you.
Oh, you can reach me at my website, which is down below. And also, I just want to also say, do join. We have a home staging community. This is called Home Staging on Google+. So please join us there as well.
Right. And I'll be talking a lot about that next week, too. So they can go to your website to get a hold of you. And you're in Facebook a lot.
Yeah, Facebook, Google+.
Great. Okay.
Instagram.
And Carol, how can people get a hold of you?
They can go to my website. I think you can see it below, but it's otherwise at www.everythingcreativedesigns.com. And Danny, you'll be pleased to hear that you will be seeing a lot more social media coming from me now, because I'm actually getting somebody to do it for me who is in my office as well. So you will be seeing a lot more of that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah, it's true. You know, years ago, I think people thought Facebook was going to go away, just like whoever thought every single person would have a computer in their home. Well, you know what? Everybody does, and in fact, we have many computers. And yeah, what I want to talk about for next week, you know, it is a good idea if you can afford to hire someone to do your social media. But I'm also going to talk about personal engagement, how important that is. But I'm a big fan of social media. It's certainly one of the marketing strategies that I've used to build my business. But yeah, so are all these other ways. And if you want to find out more as well, just check out my book. You can get it at Amazon.com. I know that you can also get it at the library if you don't have the funds to purchase it. But I do hope you have the funds to purchase it if you're in this business, right? We want to be profitable. So thanks so much, Carol and Sally, and thanks so much to the viewers that we have today. And please share this, pass it around. We will be talking about SEO on Google and YouTube as well, so stay tuned for that one, and you can maximize getting your message out there. So bye for now.
Bye, Dana. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.